Hi everyone and welcome to our YouTube channel. You're here today with the Aussie Lash Wives, Alicia and Jodi. And today we welcome Kiki and Andy. We're talking about UV lashes.
So excited about this. This is so exciting. We can't wait.
Welcome, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you guys for having us.
We met these fabulous entrepreneurial couple up at the Lash Conference in the International Lash Masters in Queensland this year. So it was great to meet you. We had some fabulous talks at our stands, our fellow stands, and also at one of the after parties, which what goes on there we'll keep to ourselves. But anyway, yeah, great. You're based in Queensland now, living in Queensland, and your salons are in Sydney. So I suppose we really want to get into your product, but first off, I want to ask you a question just off the beaten track. How did you go to being in Sydney and having your salons in Sydney and heading up to Queensland? People are interested, people running businesses from another state. How does that work for you, and how did it come about?
Yeah, it was quite an interesting move. I think we probably got two perspectives on this. We spent a long time, or I say we, mainly Kiki was doing the heavy lifting in building the business, developing the brand, really trying to define high quality, within that service area, because we noticed that was probably lacking. And over about 7 years, we developed the business. And just from a personal perspective, we had our first child, and I just get more family time, and even things like in Sydney, we found it wasn't very conducive to family life per se. Trying to go out to a restaurant with a small child became more difficult. So I really wanted to move to a community kind of feel, and we chose the Gold Coast. That was the main driver. But I have to say, we were pretty much visiting a lot of Queensland and North New South Wales at the time. But when it actually came to the move itself, it was quite an emotional and difficult separation for Kiki. Particularly, she'd poured her heart and soul into that business, so it was very difficult to step away from it. But I don't think you regret it now, I would say.
Yeah, it was it was very hard for me to leave business there, because my salon is like my babies, So it was very, very hard at first few months, but we made it work.
Yeah. No, that's great. So Alicia obviously is our guru lash artist here, so she's going to speak to you more about the technical side. But tell us how you come across the actual product, and tell us about the product.
Yeah, I guess a bit of the history, really it's Kiki that really discovered the product. I guess the concept of, UV curing has been around for a little while, and, particularly with eyelashes in the Japanese market, was really one of the early adopters. And that's where kind of Kiki got involved and started experimenting with different products.
Yeah, I see in LED lash extension very popular in Japan back in like 5 years ago. Then I thought it's not gonna be a trendy thing, but it's just becoming bigger and bigger. And I saw the big opportunity, so I started to develop and research, and I spent a lot of time on researching about UV lash extensions.
So tell us, for the listeners that don't know the difference between a UV setting lashes and traditional eyelash extensions, tell us what the difference is, just for someone that may not have ever seen them before or not know anything about them.
So as lash artists, you might experience, retention problem. Also, your customer might have a allergic reaction before, and LED lash extension cap can solve those problems, because it can make much longer retentions. Also, it can reduce allergic reaction.
Okay, so that's its main benefit, is that you're less likely to have a reaction there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reaction and the retention, and the other key thing, clients sometimes are quite limited to what they can do after they've had their set of lashes. So, in terms of maybe going to the gym, or maybe going to have a shower, or even their kind of beauty routine, they're always very conscious of that. So by having the LED cured approach, it makes sure it's a much firmer curing process. So that obviously, you think about the retention, clients really struggle to find time in their diaries to keep visiting the lash salon. We know how long these services can take sometimes. So the fact if you can draw that out an extra 2 or 3 weeks, that time is quite precious, we think, to clients.
Sure. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is it true that, with normal glue, normal lash adhesive, it's actually, there's a lot of science behind it, and I'm sure there's a lot of science behind UV lashes as well, but with traditional glues, there's more to what meets the eye in terms of your room temperature needs to be really on point. You have to have a good amount of humidity. Like if it's too humid, it's going to set really fast. Things like that seem to be a real difficult sort of point for people when it comes to retention. If they're not getting those things right in their room from the start, the retention on their clients is not good. And is that problem essentially eliminated when it comes to UV lash adhesive?
The temperature, also the humidity, it's not going to be affected to LED lash extensions, because the LED glue will be cured by the UV, LED UV light. Yeah, so it's not going to be affected so much.
Yeah,
so the atmosphere not affected at all, or not so much?
It has the impact of it is far less significant. In fact, we have clients, in Canada, some clients in very hot, humid countries like Puerto Rico, and they kind of reach out to us and say, I was almost at my end of my last journey, because, they were almost in tears, because every time they tried, their clients' lashes were falling out because the conditions are so difficult to manage. And now they can go back to providing that service. So yeah, that's definitely some of the stories that we hear from our clients. Yeah, which is really good.
That's good. Yeah, that's very good.
That is good to know. I think that's such a difficult thing for most lash artists, like to control your room, especially if you're a mobile lash artist, nightmare. And if you're working in a shared space where there's lots of you and possibly everyone's using different glues, nightmare. There's so many times that it's just so difficult, unless you're working in your own space and you have so much control over the air conditioning and the heating and the humidifiers in your space. It can just be almost impossible to get it right with your glue. So that's pretty cool. That's a cool feature.
Yeah, it is. So, and I suppose the question from my point of view, and probably the question from a lot of Aussies down under, UV is a really scary word. It's a scary word for us. We've been taught forever to block out, to keep out of the sun, to cover up, slap, wear out, don't go out in your bikinis without a top over it, all that sort of boring stuff, which is very interesting and good, and we're supposed to do that. But explain to us why we shouldn't be scared of that word.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's part of the culture, and I think that's one of the challenges that we've had to overcome. And I think that's been quite, it has its benefits, because it forces us to rethink and, to come up with a solution that is kind. And I think that's really where we've come from. I mean, there's really no escaping the fact that technology requires a light for the curing process. The glue itself has the photo initiators, which are activated, that causes a chain reaction of that curing process. But how can we do that in the kindest possible way? And that's really by, again, looking at the science of it, and recognizing the intensity of the light becomes a very important factor. There is some talk around the specific spectrum of light that you use. Personally, I find that is a component, but I think the intensity is the most important part. We have some data that shows, with the equivalent of 1 hour direct exposure with our product is roughly around 7 seconds of sun exposure. So that's just, that's from the science that we and this testing that we performed. So it gives you some indication that we've really focused on a very low output, very low energy light, really to reduce the amount of total exposure.
So I think that people like lash nerds especially, or the people that love the glue and the information, are going to find this really interesting. And then also the people that are scared of the word.
Yeah.
So we're saying in a set, like say a refill that takes you 1 hour, you're getting the equivalent exposure of going out in the sun for 7 seconds.
And exactly. And that exposure is in one precise location, which during a lash fill, you're obviously covering lots of different areas. So we have our light is very precise, which has been a focus where you see a lot of UV floor lamps, for example. They cover a whole eye, much larger surface area. They produce heat. So with our light, there is minimum heat, and the light is very precise to where the curing process occurs.
That was going to be my question as to why you chose to do a light on a tweezer as opposed to all those other ones that I see, like the floor lamps. And I actually was just, having a look around. I'm always interested in the newest lash stuff. It keeps me going day to day.
Nerd. Lash nerd. My wife's a nerd.
I take that as a compliment. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
your wife's a nerd too.
Of the night, and I find her looking at pictures of eyelashes on her phone. I'm just like doing. It's.
It's great. It's fun. It keeps us entertained. Leave us alone, guys. But yeah, I really couldn't find anything other than those floor lamps when I was looking around. Everything was those floor lamps, and they look like they cover like so much of the eye. And then obviously looking at your product, it's so precise and it's so small and isolated. And I did actually try out.
Of course she did. Of course she did. She can't help herself.
I tried the Lash Plus UV light, of course, myself. And you can almost like point it at a lash, like it's so precise. So it was pretty cool.
Did you enjoy using it?
Yeah, it was different for me. Like I think anytime you use something different, there's going to be a learning process. And full disclosure, I tried it once because I just haven't had the time between trying it and talking to you guys today. I would love to keep on trying it all day, every day until I get it perfected because that's my style. But, having something extra. So just to explain for those who haven't seen the Lash Plus system before, the actual light sits on your tweezer in kind of like a little rubber sleeve, right?
Yes.
So you slip your tweezer into the sleeve and then it's sitting on there. It kind of makes your tweezer feel like double to 2/3 thicker than your tweezer normally feels. Yeah. So for me, that was like an adjustment, being like, you had this muscle memory for me of 15 years of doing lashes in the exact same way. And I still have the same tweezers from 15 years ago because I love them and I will never let them go. If I dropped them on the floor, I think I would be
she'd get rid of me devastated. I've got first and her kids. We'd all go, not the original tweezers.
So obviously I'm very committed to my tweezer. So having something on there really threw me. I was like, whoa, this feels so weird. And then I didn't know, should I be putting it on my application tweezer? Should I be putting it on my isolating tweezer? Like I tried both to see which one worked better. But what's your feedback on that for people that are like, whoa, this feels really random and weird for me, trying something new?
Yeah, I think there is a bit of an adjustment. I think you're absolutely right. The interesting thing is we find that people that are coming into the industry find it a lot easier to adopt, which I guess is like unsurprising. As you say, you form habits and you form techniques. But what we do find, people that have been, because we also have clients that have been lashing for a decade, for many years, and they find after a week or two, that they quickly adopt, and it becomes again a new habit is formed. There is some sites around how quickly habits are formed. So many
28
hours.
days.
28 days. There you go.
28
Exactly.
days. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 28 days. Muscle memory.
That's where she's the nerd.
Physical.
She knows this stuff.
I know that stuff. That's my thing. But yeah, 28 days. So you think it's a good 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks of practicing, really. I can imagine. I think what you said is really clever, because if you were approaching the people that had just started lashing, like if you come to me and said, this is the system you have to use to lash, and I learnt on that, I wouldn't know any different.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you would really be going after the new lash artists as well as the ones that are already, but they'd be easier to teach.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. They seem to adopt a lot quicker, I would say.
Yeah, to the beginner. Also, yeah. Also, yeah.
Oh, sorry, you go.
I also, I love. I don't change my tweezer like Alicia. I use same tweezer, but yeah, it's you need a little bit of practice to be able to use it. But yeah, I got used to quicker than I thought, and yeah, I love the solution.
So I have a technical question for those that might be starting to try it out, and me. It's a question for me. Let's be honest. I want to know, how do you turn the light on without closing your tweezer? Because the light, for those listening, if you imagine your tweezer open, I was using it, for example, on my isolating tweezer. So I had it open where I was holding the lash there. I placed my lash on. Then if I turn the light on, how do you stop your how do you turn it on without closing your tweezer? Is my question.
You put in the isolation tweezers.
I did, yeah.
All right, okay. So
no, we shouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's basically designed for pickup tweezers.
Good tip.
Yeah.
This is me being like, why? The whole time stressing out. I put it on the wrong tweezer, guys.
No, that's it. I mean, I think it's good to experiment with those things. I think, to your earlier point as well, you've got your favorite tweezer, and that's one of the things we wanted to focus on. You can bring your own tweezer because everyone does have that preference. In terms of the activation, that is something we are continuously looking at as well from a research and development perspective. It does require pressure. That's how it is activated at the moment. So I can understand why, potentially with your isolation tweezer, you'd have to have the tweezer closed for it to activate, but there are different methods and things that we are experimenting with. But yeah, I mean, it's good feedback. But as Kiki mentioned, maybe try it on the application tweezer, and
that'll make other tweezer next time. I will definitely give that.
When someone purchases the actual kit itself, and along with it comes all your knowledge, do you have educational videos? Do you have things that people can really, because obviously Alicia she winged it, which is fine, because it was for the purpose of this. Alicia wanted to find out all the ins and outs herself without being told everything. But as a non-person that purchases it, do you offer a lot of training and a lot of these tips and Q&As and?
Yes, we do. Yeah, I say we do have like an online learning management system. So people who are buying the kit, the training kit, they can get access to online learning, as well as a quick quiz at the end of that to make sure that the learning is being understood. We have some videos on our website as well, which is lash-plus.com, and with that they can access just some quick tutorials to get them started. And then also we do have clients reach out directly, so we're happy to talk them through any kind, give them guidance as they start to use the tech as well.
So if someone was looking at purchasing it, can they access this sort of information first to get knowledge about the kit? Like, I mean, I wouldn't pay money for anything unless I knew exactly what I was getting into. So can people access it beforehand by just going to your website? And it has a lot of information about it. So do you want to say your website a bit slower again for us and really clear?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's lash-plus.com. That is the website, and there are videos. So there are quick tutorials on what's within the kit, how to get started. There's some information, there's some data sheets available there, and any questions that you have outside of that, then feel free to reach out over social media, Instagram. So we're happy to field any questions.
Yeah, awesome. And very prompt response. When we got in contact with you guys after the event in Queensland, it was like the next 2 hours. So you will get a response from people. They are not bots.
I want to know what you think the scope of UV lashes is for the beauty industry. Like, where do you think they're going? Like, how big do you think they're going to get? What's your vision for UV lashes and their future in the lash industry?
I believe it's very popular in Asia, particularly in Japan at the moment, and I feel like it's becoming bigger and bigger, and already America and Europe, it's getting bigger. Yeah, so
Yeah. I mean, Kiki came up with the, really the phrase of being the new normal, and that's where we think this will go. How often do you get your nails done and have them cured with a UV nail curing system? We feel the lash industry will head in that direction too. I think just the benefits, although there is some time to adopt, I think people will adopt, and then that they'll become comfortable with the technology. And yeah, I think we'll start to see this in the majority of lash salons and home salons. And as you say, it opens people up to things like mobile services as well. So it really does offer that flexibility for artists.
Does it take more time? Can I ask a non-lash artist nerd? Does it actually take more time to use with the system?
probably like 10-15 minutes if you are not used to it, but when you got used to applying application, and it's not gonna be much difference. I do in 1 hour with the classic, so it's not gonna be much difference.
So, like, for the lash people out there listening, let's get a little bit more technical. Let's talk about the process. So it's literally like if you imagine doing a set of lashes, right, where we separate and isolate a natural lash. You pick up, you can do classic, you can do volume, any type of lash with this glue. And you would pick up your artificial lash of whatever choice that is, dip it into the UV glue, place it on the lash, and then you press your light to cure, which takes 2 to 3 seconds.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
You go. I'm sorry.
Thanks. And so 2 to 3 seconds. So that is somewhat similar timing to a normal lash adhesive. Like you could get like 1 second adhesive. That's pretty fast. I don't know if there's many of them available or like that many people would use them, because 1 second between there and placing on the lash, picking up and placing, you're almost dry. So you'd have to be super speedy to do that anyway. So timing wise, I think it would be the same. Me personally trying it for the first time, it took a really long time, but I was playing around, right? I'm like moving it from tweezer to tweezer. I was trying different things. And also the glue was a surprise to me because like, I don't know, the viscosity of the glue felt quite different to me to a normal glue. It's purple, which is cool. I poured it out, and for a second, when you might have an older glue or a glue that's separated and you pour it out and just like the sort of clear adhesive bit comes out, but it's meant to be a black adhesive. At very first second when I saw it, I thought, that thought that the glue's gone off. And then I was like, oh yeah, hold on, I'm doing UV lashes here, pay attention. And the glue's purple. Then I was very excited. I was like, purple glue, ooh, how fun. But yeah, so the glue's purple, and it feels very thin to me compared to another glue. So I was also playing with how much am I meant to be picking up? Am I putting on enough there? That kind of thing. So it took me a while, but I would say that's purely because of.
And you didn't have any training. I didn't have any training, so to speak. So
True.
When you get the proper training, when you buy this kit, you will be picking it up much quicker.
Yeah.
But your client did say that she felt the lashes were very light at the end, didn't she?
Yeah. So I had some feedback from my client that I did them on. She said that she's never had she does get traditional lashes. She said that she's never had lashes that felt so light before. So she said that she felt like she couldn't feel anything at all. And I also asked her about how it felt to have the light on her eye. Again, like I was telling you guys a moment ago, I was looking at all the YouTube videos of the different UV lights, and lots of people were complaining like, oh, it's hot, and, flinching when the light came on and things like that. And my client's feedback on having the light was that she was aware of the light, as in she sort of, when the light turned on, you could see sort of a light purple hue of light shine over your eye, but she felt no temperature change at all, and it wasn't an invasive light that made her eyes feel like they needed to flinch or anything like that. So she had only positive feedback of the experience of being lashed with UV lashes, of your UV lashes. You didn't try her with the other one.
How's the feedback going from your end? Like, what are you getting from your clients, Kiki?
Yeah, like you said, they don't feel anything. with the floor lamp, or you might feel warm, like heat, but with our product you don't feel anything at all. So they feel more comfortable to have this service, I think.
Yeah. So are you charging more? For me, I would ask the question: do you charge more for the use of this sort of system? Like, I'm sure if I was in a salon, I'd want to know that I've purchased something that's cost me a little bit more. I'm investing in the product, but yeah, do you charge more yourself, Kiki, for this type of service?
Yes, we my salon in Sydney, we charge $29 on top of the normal service actually. So most of clients moving to LED lashes, even they have to pay $30 on top, because they love the retention. Also, they purely like
Yeah.
yes,
So the message for the lash artist here is to be very careful that you explain about the retention first. You just don't say it's $29. You explain the benefits. You explain why it's $29. Your lashes will last longer. Your lashes will feel lighter.
You're much less likely to get a reaction.
Yes, all those things. So make sure that when you're selling this product in your salons, that you just don't say, for an extra $30, I can do this. You have to educate your clients to understand that this system is brilliant and the reasons why it's brilliant. And isn't that right, Kiki, that you have to do the work?
Yeah, that's exactly, you as a lash artist, you need to understand how it works, and how the product, and what's the benefit, and what's the disadvantage, risk, and it all explain to your client, and then they understand. And this, because our product is very safe and kind to the skin and eyes, so they try,
and they always come back.
Yeah, so I was just saying to those listening today, please make sure that you are educated yourself, that you read all the paraphernalia and you watch the videos yourself.
Don't do an Alicia.
Don't do an Alicia, because no, it's really good that you did that. Because talking today, you're asking.
I needed to try them before talking to you guys and understand it myself before asking those questions. So
education.
That's why we need it now. Kiki, you just mentioned the safety again, and I think that is going to be the biggest boundary for people in Australia. I really think, I know we've just talked about earlier about how it's only 7 seconds worth of UV exposure, but do you have any other weird and wonderful stats for us about its safety that you want to share with people? Because I think that's going to be a real sticking point.
The product itself has gone through safety and compliance checks. So with that, we had to go through what they call a CE mark, also an FCC, and then also one that's a bit more relevant to lighting systems is a safety compliance standard called EC. So these are kind of tests that an electronic device goes through, that a device that produces light goes through to ensure that it meets those safety and compliance standards. But apart from that, I think it's quite interesting that we get into the specifics. So we have done some in-house testing with digital light meter to ensure that the amount of irradiation that's being produced is as minimum as it can be. We perform tests on different nanomils of light spectrum, different types of glues. So we've really done a lot of our own in-house research, which we try to publish as much as that information as we can. But that's where we're up to at the moment with certainly our level of testing and research.
That's really good to know, because obviously not only do you need to convince the lash artist here, the lash artist needs to convince the client. Because, it's not just we might understand the glue and understand the process, but we also, as a lash artist, need to know how to sell this to a client as safe as well, because I think Australians are literally scared of UV.
Yep.
So tell us something about what we're passionate about here at Prolong. How are we looking after UV lashes? Is there any difference? What's the aftercare situation when it comes to UV lashes? What are you telling your client before they walk out the door?
Yeah, I can start. As a non-lash tech, obviously, looking after your lashes is going to be still relevant. I mean, if anything, probably more relevant because your service in between your actual infills are extended. So that aftercare in between becomes more relevant. The fact the glue is curing much more firmly as well means that actually the risk of loss of lashes during that time as well with aftercare is reduced also. So yeah, I think there's a natural fit with that. If anything, I think the aftercare becomes much more relevant with a UV lash system.
Yeah. So wash your lashes.
Keep them clean.
Keep them clean.
Very important. Always very important.
Keep them on. Keep them clean. There's this little even easy slogan.
That sounds something. I don't know about
keep
that.
Them on, keep
I don't
oh,
like
yeah,
it.
Probably.
No.
Well, we won't use that then. Okay. See, nerd.
It sounds like a sexual health initiative. Keep them on, keep them clean. Put it on, I think, is where.
Okay, well, anyway, getting back to the point while we're here. Is there anything else you'd like to particularly say about your product, where it's from, how it's packaged, how it arrives? There's some other questions. It's up to you if you want to talk about costing, process. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, I mean, we have distribution available in like Japan, Australia, and the US. So in terms of like the delivery, should be within 5 business days within those regions. It can vary outside of those regions. Yeah, in terms of cost, we feel the best value is probably with the kit where you get the online training included. With that, you get glues that are specific to UV, so that there are 2 glues available within that pack. There's a remover as well within that pack, a tweezer that's Kiki's favorite tweezer design. So that's one we decided to include in there, which is pretty cool. It comes up with a protractor on the tweezer, so you can kind of work your lash angles out as a ruler as well, just to kind of get the measurements of the design, and then the device and an adapter as well. So, and that comes in a nice handy kit that's portable. So for those mobile lash techs, there you go, fantastic. You literally pop that into your purse, into your bag, and you're a mobile lash tech. So that's. But yeah, we definitely feel the best value is with the training and the kit. I think that's where people get the biggest benefit from Revolution.
And is that information clearly advertised on your website?
We do have a number of different options. So you can buy the device individually, you can buy the kit without the training, or you can buy the kit with the training. So you can see those options available.
So you can either be Alicia and buy the kit without the training, and put it on the wrong tweezer.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. I was like, I've got to try these now.
Or you can go with the training and be up and running in 2 weeks, popping out classics in 1 hour with an extra $30 revenue for yourself. So I can't see anything that doesn't work for us, and then wash your lashes with Prolong afterwards. See, it's a win-win for all of us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. It's been really interesting to learn more about this topic, and I think it's a really hot topic and people want more information about it, and there's just like not a lot of it out there. Like I really researched and tried to find some info about it, and it's hard to get. So we really appreciate you guys talking to us, and I'm sure that all of our listeners will be hanging on every word to find out exactly all the information.
To run out and get their kit and try it with the training and add revenue to the salons and add an extra service to your customers and clients. It's fabulous. It's just everyone's happy.
Better retention, differentiate yourself in the marketplace, retain your clients, and just be a thought leader in within your area. That's the key things.
Oh, it sounds like a halftime speech. Be the leader.
Be the leader. We love a thought leader. We love those in the industry.
That's great.
So, and apart from being an amazing and innovative product, Kiki and Andy are just awesome people. So, you'll get great customer service, and that you're supporting a brand with these beautiful people behind it and their lovely little family. So, I think that it's a way of the future.
But back at you, like you guys being absolutely amazing, from meeting you.
I was waiting for the compliment. Thank you.
It is. No, seriously, you guys are being incredible. So really appreciate how warm you've been towards us and how much, you're supporting us. So yeah, we deeply appreciate it.
Welcome to our
it's a
community.
little podcast,
Welcome
isn't
to our
it?
community, our lash community, a little Aussie lash
family. Yes.
Yeah, we adopt us little Aussie lash wives. We adopt little people as we go. So, no, welcome to our
Like
village.
an Aussie gang, don't we?
Yeah. So yeah, good luck with everything, and please, if you need more information, you've got the website, and it is again.
Yeah, hit us up with your website again.
lash-plus.com.
Beautiful.
lash-plus.com. There you go.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us today, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and use our cleanser. Thanks, Jodi. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can continue to get all this great content and educational information and meet our amazing guests that we bring on. And as always, jump on our Instagram, Facebook, and our TikTok if you want to see Jodi, driving a forklift or something like that. And if you want to buy Prolong, at www.prolonglash.com and .au for Australia. Thanks so much, guys.